Auzu billahi mineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, viewers. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Nasser Rashid again, inshallah. Go on to the YouTube channel. Type Nasser Rashid. Inshallah, there are around 23 videos at the moment. Inshallah, I've spoken about various topics, and inshallah, at the moment, I was doing jinns, jinn possessions, and magic and evil eye. But lately, I've posted Recently, I posted a video in Urdu as an introduction and spoke about, the true picture of Islam. Alhamdulillah, there were a lot of viewers of mine who wanted, that I speak in the Urdu language. Alhamdulillah, I've done that. Inshallah, I'll be posting more videos. There are two videos at the moment because what's happened is one is recorded by my friends and one is recorded by my children. Alhamdulillah. So both, one of them which has been recorded by my friends, it's 1 hour long in Urdu and you can view that. Alhamdulillah. And the one that is recorded by my children, this is about 35 minutes, inshallah. That will be uploaded as well soon, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, you can view that. Alhamdulillah. So they're both similar, slightly different. So inshallah, you can view both, different views. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much for joining me again. Alhamdulillah. There are around about 4,800 views now. Alhamdulillah, people have viewed it. So thank you so much, inshallah. And there is one special subscriber that I would like to mention this because this is important for me. Inshallah, this is a great encouragement for me. I was in, a few days ago, in fact, only yesterday, I was, I think the day before yesterday, I'm not really sure, a couple of days ago, I was in Leeds and I was looking for a place to go, and my phone's battery died. So I was at a Spar petrol station on the Harells area of the Leeds. So I was just, I couldn't really find where the place was. And so my battery died. And as you know, I like traveling, and I was just went into the supermarket inside the, petrol station, and asked the gentleman there that if I can, use their, socket to charge my phone. So the gentleman was very kind. He was from a different nationality. I don't know, from Poland or somewhere. So anyway, he just gave me the socket and my phone was charging. I was just walking around, and as I was, in the queue to pay for something that I bought, there was a, Englishman standing behind me, a young bloke, mashallah. May Allah guide him to the truth. He was behind, and I was just telling the girl that, my phone is charging, my battery's dead. And he overheard me, and he, after I paid, he just came out and said, I can help you with the phone. Where do you want to go? So he was very kind. He just showed me the way, and also he actually volunteered to actually take me to the place. Alhamdulillah. And so I said, thank you so much, you've done enough. And he, stayed around for a few minutes. And he was from Leeds, alhamdulillah. But then as he was going, I told him, my name is Nasser Rashid. Actually, I'm from Birmingham. I was just here visiting Leeds, and I have a YouTube channel. And my name is Nasser Rashid. And he said, okay, he just spelled it out. He said, I said, I'm not really a big scholar. I just talk about Islam as an ordinary person like yourself. And, I've got 22 subscribers. And the very, at the same place, at the same spot, he said, yeah, no worries, inshallah, I'll subscribe to your channel right now. Alhamdulillah. He's a white man. Gora. Alhamdulillah. And he said that his father is, or someone he knows Muslim. He said something, I don't remember. But mashallah, this is a great, encouragement for me. If you ask other people, I don't really ask them because, people sometimes don't subscribe, or this is how, these people who are good and their good deeds, inshallah, they'll have a reward in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In one day, they might convert to Islam. Alhamdulillah, it might be, belonging to a family. This is, this is something, a very young man, very good-looking, handsome bloke, mashallah. I forgot to ask him his number, but he was a good man and good young bloke. And you see, this is for that person, the new subscriber, because these are you are my subscribers who are actually encouragement for me. So he just subscribed there and then, and I didn't even know him. Subhanallah, subhanallah. So he was very kind. So there are many people like that, inshallah, in the world that I meet. And then as he was good, so I told him, this is, you can listen to it. And I gave him my details. And if you want, if you're listening, thank you very much for that help that day. You can, you have subscribed to my channel. Inshallah, I will, I told him that I'll be speaking about Jesus, alayhi salam, one day, inshallah. Soon I'll be speaking. I'm just doing jinns and jinn possessions and magic evil eye at the moment. I gave him my address, and if he wants to know my telephone number, it's as in Jinns, Jinn Possessions, Magic in Evil Eye, Part 1. So you can view that, or the email address I gave, gate116@hotmail.co.uk. Thank you very much. This is for this special subscriber who, without knowing me, just subscribed there and then. Subhanallah. This is one of the great things that I always like. Alhamdulillah. There will people who you will say probably they are good as well, but this is the people that you don't know that you meet on the road or somewhere in the markets. Alhamdulillah. So this is a little experience I had by traveling. So alhamdulillah, this was a gora. Alhamdulillah. So I will be, and this is how you see, you need to understand this clearly. I always say that. I've been saying that for the last 25 years when I was been in different places in England and in Pakistan as well. Is that there is, you see, in one of the authentic hadiths, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, while in Medina, he was asked by the companions, Ya Rasulullah, what about the good deeds that we did during the Jahiliyyah time or before Islam? Subhanallah, subhanallah. You see, you need to understand this clearly for all the Muslims and the non-Muslims, Goras, or for you, my friend, or any other people, is that the Prophet ﷺ, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, was asked by the companions that what about the good deeds that we did during the time before, during Jahiliyyah's time or before converting to Islam. And look at the Prophet ﷺ said to them that those are the good deeds that help you to convert to Islam. Subhanallah, 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 subhanallah. This is for the non-believers. This is for non-Muslims or Muslims. Even they are non-believers, I believe, because they follow them not in Iman sense. They are Iman, but those who don't practice as Muslims, is that you need to understand that your good deeds will help you to convert to Islam and do the good deeds and take you to Jannah. Subhanallah. This is Umar you're talking about. Umar. If you look at Umar series, I always say this is a big movie. I used to see, like I told you, every Ramadan, all episodes of other movies with my wife, and this is in the last time I saw. I used to see every year. It came in 2012, but last one I saw was 2016. After that, I haven't seen it. So you see Umar doing good deeds. He was when he was a child, he was helping his aunties and things like that, and then where Allah. And he was also, good man, and he was really with the Quraysh at that time, and he was, that his idea was, that always kind to people, and he was a spokesperson for the Quraysh. But when Allah, diverted his heart, and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ prayed that either Abu Jahl or Umar comes to Islam, that the Prophet ﷺ wanted Umar to be converted to Islam, and this is what happened. Subhanallah. So you have Umar the Great, and this is Islam we got now, alhamdulillah. And all the, police and the army that you see in Pakistan, these garrison towns, I also, give some information to you every time about Umar. These garrison towns that you have in Pakistan, in Lahore, Kent, in Rawalpindi, Kent, or Gujranwala, Kent, or Multan, Kent, these cantonments, these are garrison towns where the army resides to protect the cities. This is introduced by Umar the Great, subhanallah. This is introduced by the garrison towns. This is by Umar to protect the cities, protect Muslims. That's why you have armies all over the world now in different stations and grounds and places they can protect, or where they can have an attack force. This is by Umar. So This is how your good deeds, so I was talking about that your good deeds, when you are not practicing Islam, or you're not really away from it, or you're non-believer, then good deeds you do, and then Allah converts you to Islam. Subhanallah. This is why you see all these goras, that 20,000 a year that convert to Islam in the West. This is why there are many Muslims who are converting to Islam. The goras, non-believers, they converting because of their good deeds in the past. There are many examples of Dr. Morris Brown that comes on Peace TV. There are many others, they've got a history to stories. I will divert in a different ocean. The reason is that you need to do good deeds and then keep on doing it, inshallah, if your heart is good, and one day Allah will convert you to Islam and show you the light. And this is how people have converted to Islam. They are not converting to Islam due to a character, or these Maulvis where you have a green hat or a yellow hat or a pink hat or a turban. They don't convert to that. They convert to the teachings of the Quran and the life of the Prophet ﷺ. This is true Islam. These green hats, white hats, orange hats, or turbans. The Prophet ﷺ wore white color or black. You can wear it, alhamdulillah. Whichever you wear, it's good. The Shias wear black, that's good. The Prophet, and they wear white as well. They have a black and white, which is good. Whichever way they wear it, alhamdulillah. They don't have yellow colors. I never saw with any Shia wore a green color or yellow color or purple color. But this is, this recent inventions and people making mockery of religion. In the modern world I'm talking about, it's okay in the old ages where there was no light, and if you're in the areas that you have no knowledge, that's fine if they've done it. But in the modern age, it's a mockery. You must understand this. This is a joke. I told you I keep on traveling. One day I was with my older son, alhamdulillah, may Allah give him faith and make success in his life, inshallah, whatever he's doing. So alhamdulillah, so one day I was traveling with him and we were sitting in a restaurant, and what happened was, there, as you know, TVs are always on and people are watching. So I just was watching, and there were a ceremony going on with these youngsters with beards, there were people giving some naat competition or some competition. So I was looking at them, and my son was eating with me, and he looked up and he was looking for a couple of minutes, and he said, "Abba, are these Sikhs?" I said, "Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Oh, why you say these are Muslims?" I said, "Why do you say that?" He said, "Abba, when we go to weddings, we see, these different Sikhs, have different color turban, the yellow, the pink, the brown, or the purple, or the other colors that they have, and they have these drums with them and start singing and all that." And I thought that could be them. I said, "No, no, astaghfirullah. These are Muslims." So but the Muslims are making mockery of themselves. I mean, yellow color, green color, they come out with this and they look jokers. You can tell them they're fake. It can't be real. Can't be real. The green, there's nothing wrong with it. People for like it, what? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they think that the green, the green color of the, the tomb of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the maqbara of sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Gummat Khazra, or it's Khazra, not Khizra. It basically means green color. So that's why Khizr al-Islam were in a green. Probably he used to live in the green fields, and that's why known as Hazrat Khizr al-Islam. Is Khazr, I think, in Arabic. I'm not really sure. When I was in Arab, somebody corrected me in 2002 that is Khazr, not Khizr. So I said, "Okay, sorry, sir. I made a mistake." So this is how Gummat Khazra is green, yes, but you connected to just for no reason. These are the people who I told you, that these Tablighi Jamaats and all these white Jamaats, or any, they color white one, they have their symbols. They have symbols. They have their own symbols. The green cats, the white hats, or black hats, or yellow hats, they're symbols of their sects. And look at the amount of killings. And they happen in Karachi, where the head office is, and other places. These Tablighi Jamaats come here, they never come to me. I said, "What are you doing here? The Prophet ﷺ stayed in Mecca and Medina all his life. What are you doing here? Where do you say tabligh ke liye gaye the? Taif mein tabligh ke liye gaye the. Taif, he didn't go for the tabligh. He did went for sad, but he wanted to go to the other city to see if there's. That time Islam was in the beginning stages. And look at the people who treated him, and they threw stone at him. There was blood on the feet of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He was badly injured. Like I told you, that the angels came down and they said no. So what I'm saying to you, I was going to a different side, is that when these people who are good people, like the youngster I met in Leeds, is the good deeds, Allah will take care of them, and inshallah one day will convert to Islam. And when you convert to Islam fully, then you obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you ask His forgiveness, and you go Jannah. These are the good deeds that people do, and they convert to Islam. The bad deed is one, Allah will not take them. Allah, you see, gives you a time limit. You have a time limit. So if you're so bad, then Allah will seal the hearts. Allah says in the Quran. So you must be very careful. So this is for that my friend who I met in Leeds. Alhamdulillah, may Allah praise to you. And also, sir, because you are a Gora, so you must have Gora friends, so you can subscribe to many people. So we have 1,000 subscribers. So we make money on the YouTube. And you must, and do this, because the Goras are very, clever. They're, very good in terms of their, their promises and all the work they do. That is why they're the rulers. My father, may Allah bless his soul, one day he was here in the 90s. He came, he stayed in Pakistan and came back on, a short visit. And he was in a meeting, and there was a friend of Ajib Al-Thari Saab, and he was invited many people. He's a very friendly person, and he invited many people. Invited some Hindu doctor, I think Dr. Pandit or someone, many years ago. This is in the 90s, and he goes to my father, Rashid Saab, ये बहुत अच्छे हैं, बहुत अच्छे हैं, ये बस मुसलमान हो जाते सारा काम हो जाए. तो मेरे साहब खामोशी से बैठे बातें कर रहे थे, तो बोले आजी साहब ये ना करें. हाँ 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 हाँ, इसी जिताए थी रहने दो, अच्छा कमर जी मुसलमान होएगा साड़ी तरह हो जैसे. What it means, the way we are, the Goras become Muslims because of the Quran and the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's life and the teachings of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's why they convert to Islam. If they see us, they run away. They close the door if they see someone with a beard. They say, oh, bloody, I don't know what we're going to do. This is how our imagery is bad, so much so that it is our fault as well, and the people have joined in. We can't blame the Jews and the Americans and for our shortcomings and our lying and all this. We can't. We can't. We have to take responsibility ourselves. We are not beggars, but people have made Islam into a begging religion. You ever go, can das rupees, das pound, all this as parasites. We started living on others. And we're making the nation as a parasite, living on others. And save our own money. And then, that's how it is. You need to understand this clearly. Alhamdulillah, thank you so much. So now I start, I think it's 18 minutes. I'll start today on the part 7 of jinns and jinn possessions and magic and evil eye. As I was telling you in part 6, the Prophet, during the time of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and there's no evidence, and that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam expelled jinns from adults or other females. There is evidence that he expelled jinns from children. And I gave you a few examples. And this is what happened. And also, Jesus expelled jinns during his time and before Prophet ﷺ. And the jinns have existed before that, I told you, in different parts. Now, as we went along, the jinns, at that time, people used to read namaz and azan. And I told you, and the biggest weapon against the evil jinns and shaitan is and the Quran, the namaz and azan. You must remember that. I told you that before. No Maulvi would have told you this, and I'm telling you again. And the namaz is the recitation of the Quran. Namaz is the recitation of the Quran. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen is the first chapter of the Quran. And any surah you do is any chapter of the Quran. Mostly we read Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Everything, at-tahiyyatu lillahi, is also in the Quran. The namaz is a mix. All the words are in the Quran. I'm afraid. At-tahiyyatu lillahi is also in the Quran. Ala Muhammad, it's also in the Quran. La Ibrahim, Salamun ala Ibrahim. Surah Safat number 37. So if you look at all the word, even Subhanaka Allahumma wa hamdika, that's in Surah Yunus. If you read it, clearly understand it. So everything is in the Quran. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah in Surah 48. Once in the 90s, a very learned scholar asked me, where is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah? I was sitting, I always carry Quran with me. I said, here it is. Number 48 chapter. Surah Fatah. So everything that you read, Rabbi Jalni Maqinus Salati, wa min zurriyati Rabbana wa taqabbal du'ai, Rabbana firli wa li walidiyya, wa lil mu'minina yawma yakum al-hisab. This in Surah Ibrahim, number 14 chapter. So the namaz is the recitation of the Quran. So you must understand that. So the biggest weapon against the shaitan is the Quran and the namaz and the azan. I told you that. In another, this was part 7, but it was in a short one, so I changed it to that heading, that the biggest weapon against shaitan and evil jinns is the Quran, the prayer, and the azan. So during the time of Prophet ﷺ, this carried on, and then other turmoils. This was another field as people gone, and so the other people, and then the magic was also there. You must understand that the magic is from many prophets before. This is during the time of Moses, Musa al-Islam. You see, became more prominent, the magic, because the pharaohs and all the pharaohs, the kings of pharaohs, they had magic, they had magicians, and this is what happens, and that I will tell you in a different part. So the magic existed before time, and many time before, and also it was more during the time of Musa al-Islam, the Prophet Moses, and then it carried on all the way, and then it's really climax at the climax during the time of Prophet Sulaiman al-Islam and the son of Hazrat Dawood al-Islam. So these are mightiest messengers, and the Prophet Sulaiman al-Islam had ruling of all the worlds, all the jinns, all the Muslim jinns and other jinns, animals, birds, like insects, everything. So this kingdom is unique. Even the winds were under his control, and he would call the wind and take his away. This that you see in Aladdin and other movies, and these peas are also in the older ones. They say this dolly came in from that side, and that dolly come from this is from that time, where Sulaiman al-Salam used to call the wind, and the wind will blow take him into whichever land he wanted. So the climax of magic or jinns came at the time of the Prophet Sulaiman al-Salam, and that is in Surah Swad. Prophet Sulaiman al-Salam prayed to Allah that no one has this kingdom after me. So there was one incident in Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, where the Prophet ﷺ was praying, and the shaitan was trying to divert his attention from the prayers. He was throwing fire at the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ thought that he would grab him and tie the shaitan to one of the trees in the Masjid Nabawi ﷺ. But then the Prophet ﷺ says that I remembered the dua of the Prophet Sulaiman al-Islam, that no one should have a kingdom like mine after me. Alhamdulillah. So this is, even you must understand this clearly lesson that you need to learn, and I always give you lessons, is that the Prophet ﷺ, who is the best of the creations, he is the best of the messengers, and the Quran was revealed on his heart, on his qalb, that the Prophet ﷺ never got hold of the jinn or the shaitan. So even the Prophet ﷺ just let the go. So these people who claim that they have Sulaimani topi, or they have this Sulaimani all that, this is magic they have. The shaitans or the jinns have given them magic, and through magic they have these powers. No one has the powers, or nobody should interfere with the jinns. Allah says in the Quran that keep away from them, and those who take shelter in them and ask them to help them, they cause more fear in them. They're like the cobra snakes. Just imagine a person playing with the cobra snakes, and they take on over with a big beard, and inside is the cobra. How dangerous that can be. So this is how the jinns the people have now, the fake peers or other people. They are magicians in the West as well. You must remember that. These Freemasons is a group from the Prophet Sulaiman's time. These Jews have been always interested in magic, and this is another reason that I will tell you all the magic that was done on the Prophet Muhammad, and so many people deny it. I will tell you the real story and the evidence and how you need to understand it. Prophet ﷺ, and that why was it done and what is the reason. So this is what happened. So the Prophet ﷺ, remembered the prayer of Sulaiman alayhi salam, and then he let go the shaitan. So you should not interfere with the jinn. This is a different species. It's just like playing with the cobras and snakes and lizards. And this is different species. You keep away from them. And what happened was that, and then during the other times, people have developed these, horoscopes, and during the time of Prophet ﷺ, before the coming of the Prophet ﷺ, and the shayateens and jinns used to go to the top, to the lowest heavens, and listen to the angels, and this is how they grab one thing, and then add 100 lies to him, and that's why he would tell the fortune tellers, and they will get one or two things right, but 100 lies. And this is still happening now. You have the devil worshippers, you have devil jinns, and everything is here. It's hidden. All these people who claim to be the good holy people and the champions of humanity, they are the evil ones. And you don't see them, just like the P's and others who work behind, and these Sannyasi Baba and Unani Baba and all that. Those are Christians in Lahore, I met. They're mainly Christians. They got big beards, they have knowledge of the Quran. And they pretend they're Muslim, they're not. So much so that I give you an example. I was here, as I told you, I've been always preaching all my life in 2001 or 2002, I don't remember. I think 2003. I go to different professionals, and there was a accountant of mine, and he liked my speech, and he said, why don't you come every week and give my staff and myself a speech? So I used to go in 2003, take all these books, Abu Dawood, and I used to tell him that Khilafat al-Malukiyat, about these people are talking about now. I used to do that in 2003, and before in 90 when I was in Lahore. So I told him I was in Lahore, this Khilafat al-Malukiyat, I got this book about Maulana Madudi, this is really good. So he liked it, he took off me. And Abu Dawood and the Tirmizi, Jami Tirmizi, other hadith books I used to go every Friday. So there were quite a few people. So this man was a big beard. He was Muslim, and he was, talking about Islam and asking me questions and do actually my head in. But actually, I used to give him the answers. So every week I used to go on Friday. And one day I told Mr. Ali that this Haji Sahib here. Because he used to ask funny questions, which are really, I'm always alert. My radar is always alert when people ask about the questions of Iman or about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the companions or Ahl Bayt, because I've read all of them. So I was a bit, one week I was, then the second week I think I gave him all the answers, which were really weird ones. So I asked Mr. Ali, I say this Haji Sahib was here with a big beard. He had a bigger beard. I had beard at that time, and he had a bigger long beard. Long beard up to the longer, like the LADs have these big beards. And I told Mr. Ali that, some of the questions that he asked, and he said, this is a bit funny. He goes, Haji Sahib? That's not Haji Sahib. That's Mr. Tulsi. Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, ma yushrikun. I said, what? He said, yes, this is Mr. Tulsi. I play poker with him. I said, well, you've not been around, but he's been doing my head in. I thought he's a Muslim. He said, no, he's not Muslim. He's Mr. Tulsi. He has got the knowledge of the Quran and Hadith. This is my own experience myself, my friends, and I always give you my own personal experiences. For many months, I thought he's a Muslim. He had a big beard, topi, patka, everything. He had the knowledge of the Quran, and some of the questions he asked were, out of this world. I did answer him, I did convince him, alhamdulillah. But he kept on, and I got a bit, concerned that, why is he asking that question? He's a Muslim. So then I asked Mr. Ali, and he told me that he is Mr. Tulsi. He's a, Hindu. I said, hey. So, I just never went there. I mean, I did go, but I said, I'm not going to teach him if he's there. And I asked him then, I said, how you get the knowledge? He said, I got the knowledge. You have the knowledge of pharmacy, you have knowledge of your other scholars have knowledge of other religions. Why can't we have the religion of the Quran? Which is true. Well, they should have it. That's how they have it. This how the Bollywood, the Hollywood. I think Hollywood is mainly the main ones. They have the Jews inside. They have these biblical stories and from Torah, and they have these from Old Testament, and they have the Quran in front of them. They have the Hadith in front of them. That's how they make movies. These birds coming up and taking the humans and flying away. This is, during the time of Jesus, where Yajuj and Majuj, which is mentioned in Surah 18, Surah Kaf, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will unleash these Yajuj and Majuj for the people, and they will kill everyone. And then Isa alayhi salam and Mahdi alayhi salam will take shelter in the mountains, will have come down in a later stage, and then Prophet Jesus alayhi salam will pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then a disease will attack them, the Yajuj and Majuj, or Gog and Magog. These are humans, they are not other things. People are always making movies, these aliens. This is from that idea. They haven't come out yet, but they make different shapes and different angles that the aliens will attack the humans. They are no aliens, they are human beings. They are from the generation, from the a progeny of Adam alayhi salam, who had one son, and that is from them. And they're just hidden, just like the Red Indians or people you still see in African jungles or in Amazon jungles. They're families who have no knowledge, and you see them on the TVs and show that this is, these people are primitive and they still live. And just imagine these people start coming on this modern world and will kill them all because they have no knowledge. So this is a wall that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed him, and during the time of Hazrat Zulkarnain, who was a righteous king, and he made in Surah 18, number 18, Surah Kaf, so you can read that. So he was traveling, so then people said that Yajuj and Majuj are causing corruption, so Ya Zulkarnain, if you can put a wall, and he put a wall of iron and copper, and this is till day, and every day they go up and they dig it, and then they get tired, and the leader says, okay, let's leave it. They don't say inshallah. The day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will release them, the chief of those tribes, Yajuj and Majuj, or Gog and Magog, will say inshallah, we'll do it tomorrow, and then they'll come. This is the story that's mentioned in the Quran and Hadith as well. So this is how these people, make these birds, and then when Yajuj and Majuj will kill everyone, then they will, throw the arrows up in the heavens, and the blood will come out, and they will say, "We killed everyone in the heavens and the earth. We are the rulers." So then Isa alayhi salam will pray, Jesus Christ, and then Allah will send a disease in their neck, and they all will die, and then Allah will send the birds, and there'll be heavy birds will take the corpses away and throw them, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open the heavens, and there will rain, and this is where vegetation and new life will begin, inshallah. So this is how it is. You need to understand that. So these jinns and others have existed parallel to mankind. So during the time of different people, there was not much. As people have left the namaz and the Quran, so they have been activated, and they do other evil deeds, and this is how and they have come about. Now, during the time of one of few episodes I want to tell you before I finish this, expelling the jinns, is during the time of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, the fourth Imam, the teacher of Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, the two students of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, and he was a very pious man, and he had difficult episode because this I'm going to go into a different world, but anyway, what happened was he used to expel the jinns, and during the time of Mutawakkil, who was the king at the time, there was a slave girl in his palace, and she was possessed. So Karim Mutawakkil sent someone to ask Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal to pray for that girl, she's possessed. So the man came in, asked Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal that the king has asked us to pray for the girl. So Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal he used to have two wooden shoes, wooden shoes. He said, take these two shoes and stand near the head of the girl and tell them that this I've been sent by Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, and he told me that either you leave this girl or I'm going to unleash and hit you with these wooden shoes about 70 times or 100 times in different narrations. The jinns spoke, they were few. They said, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal is a righteous servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If he asks us to leave, we would leave Iraq, no problem. This is in the streets of Baghdad, was the capital. This is during of the Abbasi caliphs. The sacking of Baghdad, 1258, by the Mongolian rulers, Halaku Khan and Chengiz Khan. And that time, the Imams or the Alams at that time thought, and this is Yajuj and Majuj. And these later Muslims of our Baralvis think that the world will finish in the 10th Hijri, which is now the 14th Hijri. They have just made it Chaudhry Sadhvi ke Maulvi, Chaudhry Sadhvi koi nahi hai. They just made it up. It's 15 now, still we are living. Anyway, so this they were unleashed during that time. This I'm talking about the Abbasi caliphs, or the rulers, I would say. I wouldn't say caliphs. Anyway, so they the man said, stood beside the girl, the slave girl, and said, this has been sent by Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, and he said, if you not leave, then we would hit you with 100 times with these shoes. So the jinn said to him, to them, that Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal is a obedient servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If he were to order us to leave Iraq, would leave Iraq. So they left. Subhanallah. So after Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal died, the jinns came. So after that, the girl was okay. She got married. She had children. Now, after Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal died, you must understand the point. I'll come to it afterwards. So the girl was possessed again. So the king sent the same man to take the shoes of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal from his student. So he came and he stood beside the girl. The same man said to the jinns that I ordered you to leave the girl, otherwise I'm going to hit you with these wooden shoes 70 times or 100 times. The jinn spoke on the tongue of the woman, and they said, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal was an obedient servant. We left. You are not obedient servant, so we will not leave. Subhanallah. So you understand, the person who's expelling the jinn, it should be a righteous man who believes in Allah, has tawakkul and reads namaz. Those who don't eat, they have jinns pretending that you are angels, but actually they are cobras. Just imagine cobras having beards. Just imagine how dangerous it is. So that's how what happens is, these are the expelling jinns that you have in these in Pakistan or in England or everywhere. And these Rakis or people come up, if their prayers, they are good, then if they learn the knowledge, that's fine. That's not an issue. But this is how these fake peas and pretend that they're going to expel the jinns. They're not. Sometimes they're nothing. They actually, have intimacy with the woman or the girl, and that's it. The jinn is gone. This is nothing. In Pakistan, I've seen many cases where the peers have said jinns and they've taken the girl or the wife away. This is what they do. And there are many cases reported in TV. I don't watch TV in the moment, but this is what happens. In the 80s, when I was in Lahore, I used to go to Kasur and other places where you find these fake peas are sitting, and this is why Kasur is a very difficult city, and this is why you find it now in the later stages. Now I've come across there are a lot of children being killed or molested. This is why it's not a good city, because there is a lot of and these things, magics, jinns, and all these kind of all the diseases that are normally psychological diseases they have in Lahore, the adjacent areas of Lahore. The Lahore, the inner cities where people are religious and they read the Quran and the Azan, it's okay. But it's quite difficult at that time. So these peers, they have jinns with them and they pretend that they can do it, but they're not. Actually, someone does nothing with him. And for example, I'm a pharmacy man, right? If someone comes in and says, well, I've got a headache. So for headache, And you can give paracetamol or tell her to, to relax. That's what I do. Or some other medicine. Some people know what they want. So if I say it's headache, then I say, okay, I give him a flu, I give him paracetamol, I give him ibuprofen and a strong medicine. So I make, 20 pounds. Sometimes there's nothing and I'll give them something and I make money. This is what happens. So, and if the quacks are sitting in front of me or non-qualified people, they have no knowledge. You say, okay, take this, they might give a serious medicine and then or someone they listening to somebody give this over the phone. And this is what happens. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. So those people who are possessed should get the cure and give the cures from a qualified person. Just like you go to the doctors, the pharmacies, or hire doctors and consultation in worldly diseases. This is a psychological disease. This is a spiritual disease. So you need to have a spiritual healing plus the physical. You must take both. Both. Because what happens is when the jinn resides, it causes physical symptoms. You get fat, so you need to reduce the diet. You need to do other things, exercise, and then the healing of the Quran is also important. That's the two together. Because the physical symptoms and spiritual. What happens is which comes instantly or comes quickly, that goes quickly. But if it stays over a longer period, then it causes diseases inside the human body. And this is when it stays, and this is how when the people, this is the male, a human being, and intervention of the jinn that causes the disabled childs or syndromes that have come around. I told you in a different part, I think part 5. This is how these jinns cause diseases. So when I'll come to that in I think other part, but I'm trying to skip it very quickly because this is a very complicated topic and it'll take long, and I don't think people have time to listen to these for hours and hours, but they will listen to those people who are affected because there are many Rakis and a lot of material is available now, every mosque, every YouTube, everywhere lectures. But I used to do that in the 90s when I was in Lahore. In the 80s, early 80s, 84, and before that even, I knew the knowledge and I was just learning it. And so this is a very complicated topic. So that's why it's coming to 42 minutes. This is what happens, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, subhanallah. So he was a great man. And what has happened now is that the jinns reside with him. So they know it, and the people actually pass the jinn by the peas to other people who are normal. They psychologically, torture them. And this is what happened. They come in the dream, and you must remember, the shaitan comes in the dream. The Prophet ﷺ said in authentic hadith that dreams are 3 types. One is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is a vision Allah gives, and second is from what you think. Like when you think about food or you think about any other thing that's on your mind, it will come on your dream. And the third type is from shaitan. So he comes in your dream, he comes in every shape he wants, except in the face of the Prophet ﷺ. No one except Muhammad ﷺ. Allah has protected Muhammad ﷺ. Subhanallah. So he cannot come in the shape of Muhammad ﷺ. So actually who sees Muhammad ﷺ, this is the reason I told you that authentic hadith, the Prophet ﷺ beard was like mine, just up to this part of the chest. Nahar, I told you that. Or foremost portion of the chest. So this is what happens. He comes in dreams. So then he comes in dreams. He comes in, he scares you in snakes and dogs and high buildings where you're always scared. You have a nightmare. This is nightmares all about. This is a spiritual disease. So you need to understand that. And this is very important for you to understand that the expelling of jinns is done by a righteous person. A good person who reads the namaz. Those who peers don't do it, and these are magicians. They read Quran without wuzu, and they reside with the shaitan. The shaitan tells them to do this, and they do it. Astaghfirullah, they do very bad things. And because the shaitan tells them to find, the bone of the swine or the pig or the owl or all this, this is what they try to psychologically weaken you and throw the ghost on the roofs for the crows to eat. That's the jinns. They eat the food, and if you leave at night, they'll take it away. This is their meat because the bakra, the murga that you slaughtered in the name of the Babaji. That's why they like it. They become like the MQMs. They come every month and say, we need the money, the patta or whatever they call in Pakistan. And if you don't, we're going to kill you. So if you don't go the Shirni, they'll come and there'll be fights in the family because they reside. The Koreans are always with them. And they reside and they, scare you. And this happened and that happened. And then Pir Sahib comes in and Pir Sahib reads. You see, they are funny weird. They'll start with, they won't say Bismillah. They start few words, mutter, and then say Bismillah. This is a knowledge. And this is a knowledge just like the CIAs have different knowledge and codes nobody knows. Or the biological weapon, they have formulas, they wear these kind of suits before they, do these biological weapons and chemical weapons, and one of them goes out, and that's how you find these SARS and other diseases are developing. These are, powders, these are all things from, hidden forces. This is what happens. And this is the knowledge that they have, and they pretend they hold in the Quran. They have a beard, or even a big beard, or even a longer beard. They got everything, but you won't find them in the mosque, I'm afraid. You won't find them at the Azan time. If you want a Pir and you think that he's got to be, they can do anything. They can come to the mosque as well sometimes without wuzu. This is very important for you to understand. This is what I learned when I was in Lahore, and I was shocked. This is one of my shocking discoveries. And if you had not known, this is for you to learn that, your pretension, your criterion is the Quran and the Hadith. That's it. It clears everything. All the dust, everything. Innovations, bid'ah, anything. Your iman is straight. It's just like water. I keep the water here bottle. I don't have it now, but I just show my children. I dirty it, put some mud in it and shake it. And I say, this is how when you're born, you're like a water. But, shaitan, muddles it and, muddy waters and all these evils inside. So if your place is in Jannah, so how would you go there now? So then in science, we have a Bunsen burner. Those of your students of science, they will know that you have Bunsen burner. So you burn that thing, and then you have another thing, a steam. So the burns and the steam goes into H2O, into another vessel, and that becomes water. So the dirt goes out. This is how it's called the filtration plants. So the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's filtration plant is by diseases, is by trials or other, cases. This is what happens. So this is how people have diseases. This is how they have trials, because place might be in Jannah, but they can't go there with muddy waters. So either there's a punishment in the grave, or other people have punishments in this world, and some of them will have it in the hereafter as well. So it's very important to understand that when you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no jinn can reside inside you. But once he's inside, when he's made the house, even if you read subhanallah, you won't go, because he's made the house. And that needs, patience, and you need to understand that when in the city council or other places where there's a building, old building, it stays there for a longer time. Then they call these big, these cranes or other, machinery, heavy machinery to bring it down, and takes time. That's how it is. This is how you need to understand, and people have left the Quran, and that's why there's so many. And those who are possessed, they should take immediate treatment. Otherwise, it will destroy the family and the generations to come. This is why it is transferred from one generation to the other generation. This is called hereditary disease that is passed from one generation to the other generation. There's no disabled children from cousins. And these disabled children, according to my research and the research of the doctors, those who have done in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, they have done many papers on Share Google. I think you can check it. They've done many research papers. And this is infertility or other things are caused by the jinn. and disabled children are jinn, where I read, that Imam Jafar Sadiq has said that if the person who is having an intimate relationship with his wife, that if he doesn't mention Allah's name, then the shaitan joins in. This you must understand this. This is something that proves in the modern age. It is not a scientific fact. It's not a scientific fact. The genes and the DNAs and the modern science doesn't believe in jinns. But Muslims, I believe that it is enough evidence that I found that I can say now that the disabled children or the syndromes are caused by jinns. Jinn and human intervention. This is what happens. And this is why you must be careful, because there's hadith in Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, and other these books. The Prophet ﷺ said that when you have intimacy with your wife, you should ask Allah's protection from the shaitan, which means that that you should read Allah's name, because the meaning, the Prophet ﷺ said that you should ask for Allah's protection, because no child is protected except Jesus. Jesus alayhi salam, subhanallah. Another mighty prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jesus Christ, was not touched by shaitan, subhanallah. So every child who's born is actually pinched by the shaitan. And that's why he cries when he's born. I tell my children, that's why you say, ah! That's why he cries, because he pinches them when they're born. He hates every human being, whether it's a boy or a girl or a Hindu or a non-Muslim or anyone. He's more particular about Muslims. That's why Muslims are in ruins and problems all over the world, because they have left the Quran, the teachings of the Quran, and the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has arrived. So this is what happens. So every child is touched by shaitan. So you must read that. This dua is very important, and because of so much exposure and filth and nudity, people don't care about it. And this is what happens. I find, in 2004, 2003, when I was appointed as a member of the committee and the vice president, I was appointed. And then I was looking after the children's section, the educational system, and tried my best to teach them. And, Hafiz and Nasir Ahmad and other Qari Yunus were there. They were good. Because you see, you must understand that in one of the videos I was saying to you that the person who reads the namaz, who leads the namaz in prayers, should not take the money. And this was an issue. Then what happened was Hafiz Nazir Ahmad and Qari Yunus, they used to teach the children. Subhanallah. This is what happened during our times. They used to teach the children. So teaching the Quran is not farz. You take the money. You have classes. You can have the Hafiz Nazir Ahmad, used to come to my house because I didn't have time, and I wanted him to teach my children at home because it's more better and he can give more time. My children. So he used to come to our house, and I used to pay him. No problem. We used to give him fruit as well. My children used to say, eating Maulvi Sahib. So this is okay. We used to give him chawal. We used to give him fine, because he's teaching the Quran. This is his time. He's not praying. So they used to teach the children and then lead the prayers. Anyone would be available. No problem. You can do that. But if the Maulvi is just kept for prayers, then his prayers are not accepted, and the committees should ask him, and that we will not give you no money. But if they say that, they won't come. So they have to teach the children. This is what I did during my time, because the Maulvi Sahib in the madrasas in Pakistan or in Chakswari, in our Qari Munawwars, they do that. They teach children, and they actually don't lead. They actually appoint a student to lead the prayers. That's fine, because the student doesn't take no money for leading the prayers. Normally, it's a student who is becoming a Hafiz or is a learned student. They come, and this is how it should be done. And that's how it's done in Dhangri Sharif as well. In most, I don't know about others, but these are the people I know. Because they take the money, but they're teaching the students. So if they're teaching the students, they take the money. If they read the prayers, that's fine. Sometimes they send one, sometimes there's two, sometimes others, fine. Alhamdulillah. And why can't this be done here? There are regular Maulvi Sahib who teaches the children, who teaches the children, and then he leads the praise as well. No problem. But just specifically taking the money for leading the praise, haram, according to my research. Whatever you think or they think is up to them. Alhamdulillah. So the Raki should be a righteous person, and that is why he should actually expel the jinns. Other people have joined in, so it's up to you. Whoever gets the shafa is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It can be given from anyone. You must remember that you go to the big hospitals here, Queen Elizabeth in Birmingham, or other hospitals in other cities, and mostly the non-believers, which are doctors and Sikhs and Hindus and from Sri Lanka and God knows where they are from. Some of them atheists, they don't believe in God. But you get the shafa. You must remember the shafa has come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He can give it to anyone, through anyone. So it's not a rule. But it's good to have someone who is conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he reads his prayers. You must, investigate, that does he read the namaz. His personal character is not that you're not going to give him a car or you're not going to give him a loan. That's between him. Is for you. You got a direct link with someone else. You see, you must differentiate that. He should not be holy. That's for sure. He should not be holy. If he's holy, then he's not holy. Actually, he's pleasing the shaitan. He should be a gunagar type. That he does work. He has some issues, and that he always is conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get shafa through him. And there's one Indian, I have to say these because I meet different people. There's Dr. Handa. He's a dentist, a big dent. He's in the children's hospital. I always speak to him. I haven't spoken to him after my wife's death, but he's a big, doctor in the dental hospital here in Birmingham, and he's a very good doctor. And I said to him, that you're a good doctor. We other doctors, I find that I think your job is, you committed to a job and you're dedicated. This is what it is. You committed to job and you're dedicated. Allah says in the Quran, laysa al-insana al-wus'a, that we will give to the man what he strives for. So if you work hard, anyone can beat that. We don't work hard. We say, ab Allah ki marzi hai, shayad Allah Ta'ala mein bakhsh de. Never. It cannot happen. Allah namazi bana de. Kaise bana de? This is a common thing that people say that Allah do this, Allah do this. Yes, when you do the means, then you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's coming up to 57 minutes today. So this is part 7 of jinns and jinn possessions and magic and evil eye. This is how the jinns were expelled. And at the present day, there's no, it's all fake, it's not real. And a lot of people go to Rakis and other places, peas and jinns, they're still there. They cannot get them out, I'm afraid. Because, like I said to you, give an example of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. He's also one of my favorite imams. Of knowledge, and this is the same fiqh or the mazhab that is used in Saudi Arabia. This is the Hanbali fiqh. So he was a very pious man and religious and a big scholar of his time. He's the teacher of Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, the Hadith, imams. Subhanallah. So how good you can imagine. So this is what happens. So the righteous man, jinns will leave. They say, yes, sir, we go. But those who are not righteous, they will stay. They stay with them. And they actually complicate matters, and people are suffering. This is what happens. Those who are suffering around you must tell them. And the cure is the Quran. I will tell you what to do in the treatment and cure, how to get rid of the jinns. And easy for you to understand it. Once you have how they work, how they possess, how they expelled, what the treatment cures, then you understand it. And what are the symptoms? Inshallah. So hope you understand everything. And if I said something or slipped the tongue or gone to a different side and still you found some knowledge, then inshallah that is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah has given me. And if I've said anything that is wrong, then may Allah forgive me for that. And the truth is with the Quran and with the correct hadith. That is the criterion you should always keep and always be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those who read namaz by Jama'at, they are not affected. People don't do that, so they are easily activated, and a lot of heels and backbiting, and this is what happens. So this is so much nudity, and that's how they come with you and they possess you. And once they possess, then if they're for a long time, it's very difficult. It's just layers of paper you have, these A4 papers, you have layers and layers. It's very difficult to go. You have to be patient and ask Allah's forgiveness all the time, and read the Quran and keep away from nudity. You must remember, nudity, exposure, and filth is the food of shaitan. And backbiting is a food of shaitan. Music is the food of shaitan. In fact, some of the scholars have said this is the Quran of